Ryan Schuiling back with you, and joining me now, head coach John Beilein of the Michigan Wolverines, taking a few minutes to discuss his off-season with us, which has been eventful. And John, last time we saw each other, you had just concluded your inspired run to the championship game in San Antonio, and as you've had some time to reflect on that, what stands out to you most about that run and what made this 2018 team special?
I think what was most significant was that we had really a team. We were very fortunate. We had very few injuries. We had very fortunate. We had incredible young men on the team that's all they cared about was the team, not as much to put themselves in a secondary position. And we just hit our stride right at the right time. And we had to beat some really good teams, including in the Big Ten tournament when we had really, Nebraska, Michigan State, and Purdue right in a row after we had just gone to Penn State and Maryland, who were on the bubble at the time. So in Ohio State before that, it wasn't like we finished our season playing any of the teams that are at the bottom of this league. And we just finished strong, and we didn't stop.
And you were riding that high, Coach, personally afterward. You were so proud of your team, and that made for a very interesting time for you between then and now as you had conversations with the Detroit Pistons. Just a two-part question here to lead into it. At what point in your career was the NBA something you even thought about? And at what point did you consider the goal of coaching in the NBA a realistic possibility?
Well, as soon as the season was over, we spent a month. I basically spent a month away from home just recruiting. Now, whenever I could go out, whenever the NCAA allowed me to go out, I was out. Several other days I was doing speaking engagements. We have a powerful brand here in Michigan, and I don't. It's probably not fair sometimes to my family, but I believe I have a real responsibility to. Obviously we got to recruit like crazy, but when on some off days, there's great opportunities. I've been to Grand Rapids, I've been to Flint, I've been to Jackson, Michigan, just to name a few. I've been to down to Pensacola, Florida. I've been to several places just to speak or be in events and to show our brand and talk about that. So that's been very busy. But then somewhere along the line, after a good friend of mine, Stan Van Gundy, parted ways with Detroit, they called me like that night. And over that time, we sort of built a relationship and just continued to talk with each other for a couple of weeks about this possibility of me making that transition. In the end, they had another great option. I had a great option of just saying, thanks. This has been interesting. I love what I've learned, but I have a great job too. So it all worked out for everybody is the way I feel.
And John, following up on that, you mentioned that had word not gotten out, because this kind of blew up over the media and social media, that the outcome of the Pistons option may have been different for you. What about the job intrigued you the most, and what concerned you the most?
Intrigued me. It is a tremendous challenge. I looked at it very much like the Michigan job, where the Michigan position, after it went down in the late 90s, Tommy Emiker had been trying to build it back up, and he got it in better and better shape. And then I was able to come in and capitalize on some of that, and we were able to win. And I saw it but when I left West Virginia with a loaded team and really good situation, people said, "Are you crazy?" And I saw it similar, is that we have gotten this thing to a great point right now. Great job, and at the same time, I think that what Coach Van Gundy's staff and everybody done is put them in position to win, and go in and give that a try. And those challenges drive me, Ryan. They really drive me. And more people said you shouldn't do this. The more I thought about it, but when it was all said and done, felt my best option was to stay right here and do the job that God called me to do. Is coach and mentor young men and be at this university.
And it kind of leads me to the following question. University of Michigan coach John Beilein joining us. A lot of current NBA coaches John, like Brad Stevens, who've done it at both levels, seem to prefer the NBA because there's more time off. There aren't the year-round recruiting obligations that you touched on at the beginning of our conversation, the public appearance obligations. You also mentioned that as well. What makes the extra college workload worth it for you?
Well, I think seeing a young man grow when you catch a kid at 18, and we probably have a bigger effect on him than maybe any time in his life. You know, his parents obviously have this huge effect on him up to 18, but this is the first time they're on their own and they got to make difficult choices, and they got to make the right choice because they're on their own. And that impact you can have on those young men or women on and off the court, I say, is so impactful. And that's what's really appealing about college basketball. The pros would be it would be more basketball. You could still make an impact on young men because they're young too. And so and it's almost different than it used to be, where the average age was probably 22 to 30. Now the average age is 19 to probably 28. So you still would have that chance. But just the idea you're more basketball there. And I really wanted to see what we could do if it was just more about basketball. At the end, it didn't work that way, and that's okay. I'm lucky.
Coach, you've said one downside to moving on in your career, which you've done many times, is uprooting and moving your family, and most notably your wife, Kathleen. And you've done so previously, Lemoyne to Canisius, then to Richmond, West Virginia, finally to Michigan. But the Pistons' job was unique in this regard because you essentially could stay put. How did this play into your decision to even consider it? And did Kathleen support your choice either way?
It was one of the primary reasons we considered it, because I would not have to uproot. We have my daughter and her husband and 3 grandchildren live about 7 miles away. So that is like a great thing for me, but especially Kathleen, who is the best nanny in the world. And she gets to see those kids all the time, and obviously my daughter as well. And so that was really a very attractive part of this. I love the state of Michigan. We're blessed to have a home up north. I love the idea that being, the coach of the University of Michigan, and if you were the Detroit Pistons coach or affiliated with them, you're in Michigan, and this has become our home. So that's what was so attractive.
And looking back, Coach, we find out that A.D. Ward Manuel indeed had an extension offer for you to consider at Michigan prior to the Pistons expressing interest, but that he was very accommodating to you as you explored that opportunity. What is his actions? What do they say to you? And how did that play a role in your ultimate decision?
It says that he really understands probably the way our men's basketball program goes about its business. There was nothing sneaky going on. There was just, I told him to take the offer off the table if he wanted to, and I'd be fine with it because I did want to just research this opportunity with the Pistons. And he wouldn't take it off the table. No, I want it sitting here right for you as you sort through this. So that really said a lot about who he is and how he sees. And that's how you retain good talent. If indeed he thinks I'm a good talent, you retain them by giving them opportunities to grow. And in the long run, it made me probably more hungrier than ever to come back and do a great job for the University of Michigan, for his athletic department, and for these teams in the years to come.
Coach, you've been to the championship game now twice over a 6-year period with 2 very different groups. Now, in between, maybe the reviews from fans that are fickle weren't as positive as they were as you saw the response when news got out that you potentially might leave for the Pistons. The love that was expressed, I don't know if it was fleeting or not, but certainly Wolverines fans wanted you back. What were your thoughts on that response, and how did that impact you?
Yeah, there were several really impactful letters written to me, or emails or texts that were written to me that were like, wow, I had no idea. I had no idea that you felt that way, or that people felt that way. So that was really, it was very kind of so many people that have so many good things to say. At the same time, wish me well if it had worked out differently. But it was really, I understood that our program has done a really good job of identifying with our fans and because there's a real love here between the Michigan fan base and men's basketball and this basketball program. It's not, they're just not like the team. They love the team, and they love what we're doing. And I felt that in any correspondence and communication with so many of our fans worldwide, really.
Coach, just a couple more questions, and one of them kind of stems from what you just said, and that the people were warm, they're supportive, they feel a connection to the program, but you've mentioned publicly that people don't really know you. What don't they know about you?
Oh, man. I don't think I don't think they know how simple I am and how I grew up in a life with 9 children and just really I don't need a whole lot of things to be happy, and so it is not. Hopefully, I come across as very genuine and authentic, because that's the way it should be, and that people sort of remarked like, "Oh, you're so nice to us." Well, what other way is there to treat people to be nice to them? I don't know any different, and so. But I love music. I love the St. Louis Cardinals. I love the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, from my roots, and that I love my faith as well. And people maybe they know that, maybe they don't, but that's what's near and dear to me. And of course, the biggest love is my family. That's is whether it's my brothers and sisters, my children, my grandchildren. That's what makes me tick, and that's what makes me work so hard.
Finally, Coach, appreciate your time. Charles Matthews returns. That's a big boon for you and the program, along with, of course, Jordan Poole and Xavier Simpson, who came of age in many ways this past season, Isaiah Livers, John Teskey. Much of that core that made the title game is intact. What does this team look like without Mo Wagner? What's the next step? And where will you be watching Thursday's draft to see where Mo goes?
Well, Mo Wagner changed our whole team because he can stretch the floor, and it's one of the reasons Charles and Xavier were so good is because they're playing 4-on-4. There's not a rim protector back there when that guy's chasing Mo around. So that really is a big impact. Well, we're going to miss that. However, John Teskey had some really good games for us. And so, but we won't miss Mo. We're going to miss Duncan Robinson, who they allowed us to play 4-on-4 because he was such a lethal shooter and such a great communicator with this team. And Muhammad Ali, his athleticism and his will to play defense. We're going to miss all those guys. Jerron Simmons did a great job off the bench. So it's going to be a very, very different team. But we have a terrific 5-man class coming in. And we'll only have three guys on the entire scholarship roster that says junior or senior next to their name. We have a total of 5 years of game experience in all those guys at Michigan. 5 years of Michigan game experience. So that's not a whole lot of returning veterans. But these young boys are going to have to step up and learn early.
And finally, where will you be watching the draft on Thursday night, Coach?
Oh, I'm going to New York. I'm going to be with Mo Wagner. Our staff, some of my staff is going to join me. We're going to be with Mo. And hopefully he's gonna go somewhere that a team wants him, needs him, values him, and they will never regret this draft choice.
So great, Coach. As a Pistons fan, I'm a little bit sad that you didn't take that opportunity, but I understand the reasons why, and I know Michigan fans everywhere are so thankful to have you back. Such a great season you're coming off of in 2018. All the best going forward. Looking forward to keeping in touch.
All right. Thanks, Ryan, very much.
You bet. John Beilein, head coach, Michigan Wolverines basketball, joining us here today.